This is the model of tongue and the gustatory pathway. Tongue is a solid muscular organ that lies in the oral cavity at the floor of mouth. It has got one apex and the base, the posterior 1/3 of the tongue is known as base. It has got one root in the yellow color extended from the symphysis mentae up to the hyoid bone. Two lateral border and has got dorsal surface above, which is shown in the black color, and the ventral surface blue in light green color. This anterior 2/3 is called oral part and the posterior 1/3 is called the pharyngeal part. This division is done by this sulcus terminalis shown in the green wire. Sulcus terminalis, which is a V-shaped sulcus, lies on the dorsal surface of the tongue in between the anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3, and the tip of this V has got one foramen known as foramen cecum. Anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3 is very much different. That anterior 2/3 contain lingual papilla. These are the lingual papilla having the taste bud in it. And the posterior 1/3 has got lingual tonsil. These are the lingual tonsil. This is called oral part and this is pharyngeal part. Anterior 2/3 faces upward, whereas the posterior 1/3 faces backward. Anterior 2/3, it is derived from first pharyngeal arch from the two lateral swelling, lateral also known as lingual swelling, and one median swelling which is known as tuberculum impar, whereas the posterior 1/3 is developed from the second, third and the cranial part of the fourth pharyngeal arch, which is altogether known as hypobranchial eminence or cupola. In between these two, there is a foramen cecum, which is from there a duct arises and going up to the pyramidal lobe, of the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland has got two lateral lobe and one isthmus. Over the isthmus, this is the pyramidal lobe, more on the left side. This is right side and this is left side, more on the left side, and it is attached with a structure called levator glandulae thyroidae, which is the remnant of thyroglossal duct extending from the foramen cecum here up to the pyramidal lobe of the thyroid gland. Okay. Now the anterior 2/3, it has got different nerve for the exterioceptive sensation like pain, temperature, touch, and the taste sensation. It has got different nerve supply. For taste, it has got chorda tympani branch of the facial nerve, and for exterioceptive sensation, that is for the pain, temperature, touch, it has got lingual branch of the mandibular nerve. Mandibular nerve, we all know, is the branch of the trigeminal nerve. And from posterior 1/3, the taste as well as the exterioceptive sensation are carried by the only one nerve, that is the glossopharyngeal nerve. And the posterior most is both taste and the and the exterioceptive sensation is carried by the vagus nerve. Posterior most part of the tongue as well as the soft palate as well as the anterior surface of the epiglottis. Okay. Now coming to the lingual papilla. Lingual papilla, there are 4 types. I have only made few lingual papillas, but it is full of papilla. The most numerous one is the filiform papilla. This one is filiform papilla, which has got serrated margin and it is covered by the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. This tongue, when we see the histological, the longitudinal section or histological section, what we see, there is an epithelium and lamina propria and the musculature. Epithelium and lamina propria all together form the mucous membrane. Epithelium is of non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium except over the filiform papilla where it is keratinized. So filiform papilla is the most numerous papilla, mostly lies at the tip and the middle portion of the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. It has got no taste bud. The lamina propria is shown by this light blue color, which has got secondary lingual papilla. These are secondary lingual papilla, which is nothing but the penetration of the lamina propria inside the epithelium. So all lingual papilla has got secondary lingual papilla, which in case of filiform papilla, it is all over. That is at the top, at the side, at the side, at the top, at the side. This is, I have made two filiform papilla. And in fungiform papilla, the secondary lingual papilla is also all over, at the side, at the top. In the circumvallate papilla, this secondary lingual papilla is only on the top and they are numerous and short. Whereas in foliate papilla, it is also only on the top but large. This filiform papilla, it has no taste bud. It is most numerous and it does the assimilation of food particles. Coming to the fungiform papilla, which is club shaped and second numerous, that is next to the filiform. It has got secondary lingual papilla, which I have said earlier, is all over the sides and the top. It has got taste bud, which lies on the top of the epithelium. Here is on the top of the papilla, fungiform papilla, which is club shaped, and here is the taste bud. Whereas in case of circumvallate, they are at the side and the foliate is at the side of the papilla. Okay. This fungiform is club shaped, whereas the foliate is leaf shaped and the circumvallate is inverted truncated cone shaped. One thing worth mentioning, that circumvallate papilla, it has got, this one is called vallate. It has got trench. Trench means gaddha. Like this. This is the circumvallate papilla, and there is all over around the circumference of this papilla there is a trench, and the elevated part just after the trench is called vallate in Latin. So this is called circumvallate papilla. So it lies over here, circumvallate papilla, and this is the cut section of that. And at the base of the trench, this is the vallate and this is the trench. At the base of the trench there lies the mucus gland, the duct open at the base of the trench which flushes out the trapped food particle from here. And that mucus gland is given a special name, that is the von Ebner's gland, after the name of the discoverer. And this foliate papilla is very much clinically significant, that is involved in the carcinoma tongue. Circumvallate papilla, it is 8 to 12 number and lies along the line of the sulcus terminalis. I have made only one. These are 8 to 12 in number. And the foliate papilla, it lies posterolaterally on the anterior 2/3. This is the anterior 2/3 and it lies on the posterolateral on both sides. And this is the posterior 1/3, which is devoid of lingual papilla. Only lingual tonsils are there. What I have talked earlier, that it is when we took the section of the tongue, what we see is the mucous membrane and the musculature. Mucous membrane is the epithelium and the lamina propria. Lamina propria contain lymphatic, immunoglobulin A, capillary and the nerves. And the musculature, the muscles is of two types, that is the intrinsic and the extrinsic. Intrinsic muscles are those which are restricted to their own territory, that is restricted to the tongue area. And those are superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, vertical and the transverse. And the extrinsic muscles, this intrinsic muscle, 4 in 1/2 and 4 in 1/2. So total intrinsic muscles are 8. Again, the extrinsic muscle, they are also comes in pair, and they are styloglossus, from the related with the styloid process, from the tongue, lateral side of the tongue to the styloid process. Palatoglossus going to the soft palate, hyoglossus going to the hyoid bone, and the genioglossus, that is going to the upper two genial tubercle. Lower two genial tubercle is the geniohyoid muscle. Okay, so this is all about the gross anatomy, histology and the development. Now coming to the gustatory pathway, this is the taste bud. Taste bud having the taste cell or gustatory cell, which is shown in the light blue color. It has got microvilli on the top. Microvilli, here it is on microvilli at the top, and this yellow one is the sustentacular cell or supporting cell. This gustatory cell, the light blue one, has got nerve ending which carries the taste sensation. And this yellow one, sustentacular or supporting cell, it is giving nutrition to the gustatory cell as well as the protection. This black one is the sheath cell, which wrap around the whole of the taste bud from its periphery. It protect. As its name itself says, sheath cell, so it enseeth from all around. And this white one is the basal cell, which lies at the base and give rise to any type of cell when needed. Now coming to gustatory pathway, it starts from the taste bud, carried via the chorda tympani branch of the facial nerve, except the circumvallate papilla. The taste sensation from the circumvallate papilla is taken away by the glossopharyngeal nerve, who is taking taste sensation from the posterior 1/3. Chorda tympani nerve, after taking sensation from the tongue, it passes through the infratemporal fossa, then it is coming to the anterior wall of the middle ear cavity, and the opening is called anterior canaliculus. After that, it crosses the tympanic cavity and going up to the posterior canaliculus, which is a opening in the facial canal. Facial canal is a jet-shaped canal which is on the posterior wall of the middle ear cavity as well as on the medial wall. So, when scientists look from the external aspect or lateral aspect of the tympanic cavity, they found some cord-like structure passes from the posterior to anterior and named as chorda tympani nerve, as it is a cord-like and passes in the tympanic cavity. Now, it come out of the middle ear cavity, and this button, this shows the geniculate ganglion. The cell body of the taste fiber lies in the geniculate ganglion. Now it traverses through the internal auditory meatus along with the 8th cranial nerve, and now the first order neuron of the taste fiber from the anterior 2/3 of the tongue via the chorda tympani branch of the facial nerve it ends at the rostral part of the nucleus tractus solitarius. Nucleus tractus solitarius, it lies in the upper medulla. It has got the rostral part or cranial part, caudal part and the middle part. Rostral or cranial part is responsible for the receiving taste sensation, whereas the lower part is for general visceral afferent and the middle one is for the respiratory movements. So this coming to the first order neuron from the anterior to third is coming to the rostral part of the nucleus tractus solitarius, whereas the posterior 1/3 as well as the from the circumvallate papilla, it is going to the through the jugular foramen. This glossopharyngeal nerve also ends in the rostral part of the nucleus tractus solitarius, as well as the vagus nerve from the posterior part of the tongue as well as the soft palate and the anterior surface of the epiglottis. It also enters through the this red one, also enters through the jugular foramen and coming to the nucleus tractus solitarius. Now here its synapses, and second order neuron which is shown in this blue color, it starts its journey from the nucleus tractus solitarius in the upper medulla. It ends in the ventral posteromedial nucleus of the thalamus. Very important, ventral posteromedial nucleus of the thalamus. And now this second order neuron ends here and synapses. And now third order neuron, it is going to the postcentral gyrus. Postcentral gyrus near the face area. Near the face area where is the tongue area is situated, as well as in the insula. Okay, so this is the gustatory pathway. And the muscles are supplied by the muscles of the tongue, both intrinsic and extrinsic. They are derived from the occipital myotome and supplied by the hypoglossal nerve, except palatoglossus muscle, which is supplied by the cranial root of the accessory nerve through the pharyngeal plexus. Thank you.